What the Unitive approach to coaching deals with particularly is our perception of what goes on rather than what actually is going on, because it's our perception of what's happening that causes our problems rather than the actual happening itself. It's the way in which we see the world that's problematic. The problem has no existence in the world as such. It's difficult out there, that's for sure, but then most of us can cope, more or less, if and when we get in touch with what's really going on. What we can't cope with, though, is our skewed perception of it. The fact is, we don't see what happens in the here and now as it really is, but through the distorting lenses of our personal past. What we perceive as present reality is modified by our background, that is, by the way we have been conditioned by past and present negative influences in our personal and social life. Many people are presently being encouraged by all kinds of various commercial organizations to aim for perfect goals in a fantasized future. They're led to believe that personal status, influence and power will give them acceptance and love and all the things which they don't believe they have in themselves because they're not in touch with themselves. All those problems that people have, all that unrequited need is completely and utterly internal. So the way is to go nowhere, to be still and look within yourself. Once the either-or opposing internal dialogues have been reconciled, then you'll find that the conflict has been integrated into a unity, that there is no conflict. And then you can really start to enjoy life. You can go along your individual path in life unthinkingly in your own particular and instinctive way. True creativity is the ability to express yourself in life as you really are. You don't have to be an artist or a painter or a scientist or act out any role in particular. Just to be what you are without fear or favor is true creativity. It's what creative living is all about. Change is all about changing your perception of yourself from a one-sided to an integrated point of view. Once you've changed that, you'll find that that's the only change you need. You don't have to change anything in the outside world because the outside world is as it is, and there's not much that you as an individual can do about that. You also don't have to change anything in the opposing aspects of your internal world because that's a given, that's a fact. What you need to do is to get in the middle of those aspects and integrate them. And once you've done that, you'll find paradoxically that when nothing is done, everything is done, because by changing nothing, you've changed everything. You see, the change is a change of perception, not a change of doing in the outside world. The change is that you have begun to accept yourself as you are for a change. If you try to change the world, you'll fail. And if you try to change yourself, you'll fail. But if you change your perception of who you are, that's the only true change. So then, instead of having an image of yourself as striving to reach an imagined goal which you try and achieve, if you have an ideal of yourself which you project into the future and which will make you better or in some way perfect, then that's a false goal, because you're still deeply mired in the conflict between what you are and what you should be. But if you can actually put your fantasies of what you ought to do, what you need to do, what you want to do, what the goals are, etc., etc., etc. If you can put all that on one side and just work on awareness, if you become aware of that which you really are, then instinctively you will sit in the center of your true authenticity. Instead of constantly having to do something, you'll just watch with total acceptance that which is actually happening in each and every present moment in your life. You'll experience its absolute truth beauty and authenticity simply because you haven't got in the way. And you'll be surprised that without having to do anything at all, you're taken along an intuitive path without thinking. It'll just happen. And you'll find it tremendously satisfying because it will be absolutely authentic. That is not determined by your past conditioning, because that's where the problem is. You've been trained, and maybe you're still training, to see yourself in a certain way. So then, by getting rid of your preconditioning, you become free and you become powerful. Power is not trying to attain a goal in the future. Power is actually being completely aware of what's happening in the present. That's a very powerful position to be in. If in any kind of situation in life, instead of trying to attain a certain position, you're totally present and accurately perceiving what's going on around you, then that's a very, very powerful place to be in. And it will be recognized as such. But then, you don't have to take my word for it. You can now experience the Unitive approach to personal and professional development for yourself.